In this video, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting integers. And recall, folks, that integers are counting numbers. There are negative numbers, positive numbers, as well as zero, but no fractions and no decimals. So in the initial part of the video, we're going to talk about adding integers. So you can see you have a green plus sign here indicating that we are adding two integers. Now, the whole key to this technique is to look at the signs of the integers. If they are both the same, like they are here, you add the two integers. So in this case, we would add 4 plus 3 and get 7. Then you use the sign that they both share, which is negative. So negative 7 will be your final answer. Now, this next example, again, we are adding integers, but here the signs are different. One minus and one is plus. In this situation, when the signs of the integers are different and you are adding integers, you use subtraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to say 5 minus 3, and that gives you 2. And then you're going to use the sign of the integer that's greater. So here the 5 is greater, so your final answer will be positive 2. Okay, let's use that technique and keep going. In this example, we are adding integers. We have a plus and a minus. The signs are different. So therefore, we are going to use subtraction. We're going to subtract big minus small, and we're going to get the answer of 4. And then the final answer is going to have the sign of the larger of the two integers. In this case, that's a minus sign. So minus 4 is your final answer. Okay, folks, at this point, if you haven't already, I encourage you to pause the video and try these examples on your own. Next one, we are adding integers. The signs are different. Therefore, we are going to subtract big minus small. We get the answer of 2, and we are going to use the sign of the larger integer. The final answer is negative 2. Here, we are adding integers. The signs are the same. Therefore, we add the two integers. 10 plus 2 gives us 12, and we use the common sign that they both share in our final answer. Next one. Adding integers. Signs are the same. Therefore, we're going to add the two integers. 21 plus 2 is 23. And we are going to use the sign that they both share, which is a negative. Okay, now I'm going to take away parentheses, I'm going to take away colors, because this is how you will see this on your homework. Now folks, notice, this 2, the way it's written, there's a hidden plus sign here. So if you like, you can just go ahead and add that plus sign in your mind. And also, if you want, you can add the parentheses, but I encourage you, once you get facile with this, to try it without. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are adding integers. The signs of the two integers are different. Therefore, we are going to subtract 4 minus 2. That gives us 2. And we are going to use the sign of the larger integer, which is here. Negative 2 is your final answer. Next one. Adding integers. The signs are the same. When the signs are the same and you're adding integers, you add the numbers together. So here we're going to get 9, and we're going to use the sign that they share, which here is a negative. Negative 9 is your final answer. Okay, couple more. We are adding integers. If you'd like, you can add the hidden plus sign that is here, but they don't write it on your homework. So now we are adding integers with different signs, right? Here's a negative 6 added to a positive 4. In that scenario, we subtract big minus small. 6 minus 4 gives us 2. And we use the sign of the larger integer, which here is negative. Last one, and then we're going to move to subtraction. We are adding two integers. There's a hidden plus sign here. When I put the plus sign here, it's clear that these two integers have a different sign. When the signs are different, and we are adding integers, we subtract big minus small. That gives us 1, and we use the sign of the larger integer. So here 4 is larger than 3, therefore we use the positive sign. Okay, we are now going to move on to subtracting integers. So here you're going to see a minus sign between the two integers. And here's the key, folks. You change this subtraction to an addition problem, and then you follow the same rules that we have learned so far in this video. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this minus sign and this plus sign and just flip them. That's going to give us this situation down here where we are adding integers. When we add integers, we look at the signs. If the signs are the same, we add the two numbers together. So in this case, we would get 10. And the sign becomes the common sign between the two numbers or integers. So here the final answer will be -10. This one down here, we are subtracting integers. I'm going to flip these two signs. I'm going to change this to an addition problem. So I'm going to have +8 plus -6. Okay, all I did, folks, is flip these two signs. So now I have an addition problem. I have a positive sign and a negative sign. When we're adding integers, which is what we're doing now, if the signs are different, we subtract the two numbers, big minus small, and whatever number we get, we give the sign of the larger integer. So here the final answer is going to be +2. Next one. We're subtracting integers initially. We're going to flip these two signs. We're going to make this an addition problem. It is now an addition problem. We look at the signs of the two integers. They are the same. When they are the same, we add the numbers together and we use the sign that they both share, in this case, a negative number. That is your final answer. Okay, folks, we're still subtracting integers, and this is a scenario we haven't seen yet, a double negative situation. So here, we are subtracting, and they have a negative sign on the second integer. What you do, very simply, is change two negatives into two positives. So now we have an addition problem. When we have an addition problem and the signs are the same, we add the numbers. So these would add to 7. And because they both share a positive sign, the final answer will be positive. Okay. So let's continue with some subtraction problems. We are subtracting. We're going to flip these signs and make it an addition problem. So we're going to change this to -4 plus -7. We are now adding two integers. The two integers have the same sign, which is negative. Therefore, we're going to add the numbers, and the final answer is going to have the same sign that they both share. Next one, double negative situation. When we have a double negative situation, we just quickly change it to a double positive. So this becomes +4 plus +3. Okay, notice I put that hidden positive sign that is there hidden, but I went ahead and put that there for emphasis. So now we are adding two integers. The signs of the two integers are the same. In that case, we add the numbers together and we use the common sign. Next one. We're subtracting positive integer. We flip these and make this an addition situation. -5 plus -2. When we're adding integers and the signs are the same, we add the numbers together and we keep the sign that they share. -7 is your final answer. Here, folks, double negative. Okay, don't forget there's a hidden positive sign in front of that 5. We're going to change this to a double positive. We are adding integers. The signs of the two integers are the same. We add the numbers and we retain the sign that they both share. Final answer is +9. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a mixture here, addition and subtraction. And again, I invite you to pause the video and try them on your own. Okay, the first thing, if you see this on your homework, remember that there's really a hidden positive sign here. You are adding integers. The integers have different signs. When we're adding integers with different signs, we subtract the numbers, big minus small. We get an answer of 6, and we use the sign of the larger integer, of the larger number. That's the negative. Next one. We're subtracting. There's a hidden positive here in front of the 7. I'm going to flip these signs, and I'm going to make this an addition problem. Don't forget there's a hidden positive here. So I'm going to change this to positive 5 plus negative 7. We now have an addition problem with two different signs. When we do that, we subtract the numbers. Big minus small gives us 2, and we use the sign of the larger integer. Therefore, it's going to be negative 2. Here, we are adding two integers. There's a hidden plus sign in front of that 9. We are adding integers with different signs. When we do that, we are allowed to subtract big minus small. That gives us 5, and we use the sign of the larger integer. In this case, that is positive. Okay, we haven't spoken about 0. So here we go. 0 minus 3, there's a plus sign here. We can give the 0 any sign we want, so let's give it a plus. Okay, so we are subtracting two integers. Minus and a plus, I'm going to flip these. Make it an addition problem. We are now adding two integers with different signs. Therefore, we're going to subtract big minus small. 3 minus 0 equals 3. And we are going to use the sign of the larger number. Just to show you, if we had used negative 0, doesn't matter. Now we would be adding two integers with the same sign. We would add those numbers and use the sign that they both share, which is negative. So either way, you get the same answer. Next one. We are adding integers. There's a hidden plus sign in front of that 8. When you add integers with different signs, you subtract big minus small, and you use the sign on your final answer of the larger integer. Okay, let's use some larger integers. We are adding. There's a hidden plus sign here in front of that 59. We are adding integers with different signs. When the signs are different, we subtract big minus small. So we're going to say 59 minus 28 gives us 31, and we are going to use the sign of the larger integer. Positive 31 is your final answer. Again, when the signs are different, we are allowed to subtract big minus small. Big minus small gives us 31, and we use the sign of the larger integer. We are subtracting integers here. Folks, there are hidden positive signs right there. We are subtracting integers. We are allowed to flip that sign, those signs I should say. So we're going to have positive 81 plus minus 70. We are now adding integers with different signs. When we are adding integers with different signs, we are allowed to subtract big minus small. When we do that, we get 11, and we're going to take the sign of the positive of the larger integer, which is going to be positive 11. So when you see this, folks, you knew right from the get-go that that answer was going to be 11. But I want you to know how to explain how to do this using the rules that we've been reviewing so far in this video. Here we go. We're subtracting integers. There's a hidden positive sign here. We're subtracting integers. We're allowed to flip those signs. So we're going to change this to minus 84 to an addition problem. Now we are adding two integers with the same sign. In that case, you add the numbers together. You get 151, and you're going to use the sign that they both share. It's your final answer. Okay, here's our last one. We are adding integers. This 21 has a hidden positive sign. We are adding integers with signs that are different. In that situation, we are allowed to subtract big minus small. That's going to give us 53, and we use the sign of the larger number, which is minus. Minus 53 is your final answer.